Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to our weekly cybersecurity brief here, where we talk about some of the headlines that are out there today. Welcome, Nathan. Thanks for hopping in with us. Tell us where are you right now, and what's going on in your world.
I just got off of a really cool engagement we did for one of our customers. We just came from Michigan doing a cyber uplift for them. We went through and trained all of their internal staff, their CISO's team effectively to understand and do better when it comes to cybersecurity and the things that are actually going on around them in the world today. So pretty cool stuff, and headed over here to the jolly old England to do some work with some of the banks and some of our other partners over here.
Awesome. Very cool. And Nathan, you're with TPO Group.
I am the CTO of TPO Group.
Very cool. And then coming back with us again this week is Zach. So Zach, good to see you. Okay, first headline that we'll get into. Trump administration rescinds Biden-era software guidance. A dark reading article talking about how, it seems like framing it as a step backwards, but also maybe giving agencies more flexibility. So maybe, Nathan, if you've got a perspective on that.
Yeah, I mean, this is a mixed bag. Every administration does a new thing. It is what it is. I'm not going to lambaste the Trump administration because they decided to rescind this. If you've worked with SSDF, it's a pretty substantial thing to make people sign off on. So is it a legit step backwards? Yeah, it really is. It was a pretty big step forward. Was it the right step forward? I am not in a position to answer that question.
Zach, any opinion from your end?
I'm just never a fan when we start, to Nathan's point, taking a step backwards in regards to those security standards. I know before I put my security hat on a couple years ago and stepped into this career, I was a developer and I made some silly mistakes, and I often thought, oh, those security guidances, they're just overblowing things. And looking back now, I cringe at the things I did as a developer to try to get stuff out the door. So I think, if it's a one-pager, no real impact, and you're not on critical infrastructure, yeah, who cares if you're using that third-party plugin? Not much exposure risk. But if you share that server with something mission-critical and segmentation's not in place, that changes it a little bit, all for the sake of speed, right? Do I think it needs to stop development? Do I think it needs to stop forward progress? No, I don't think security should be that hindrance. But I also don't think we should be rolling it back and just saying, yeah, do what you got to do, get out the door, and we'll review later, because that's when problems show up.
Yeah, I always find I'm always one for, less red tape and less regulation. But I do think there was something about those standards that started to at least send the message of you need to be held accountable. Not even held accountable. That's not even the right way to say it. But there are standards. We want to see your security improve. And I think that's the step forward. There's no knowing unless you've actually lived through having to try and meet those standards, like how painful or backwards the actual enforcement or the regulation was. But it's definitely a hope that there are more stringent requirements around what goes into software, because it is eating the world, and it is around us every single day. Okay, next item. How Unit 42 is thinking about the Olympics. Basically, the article says that Unit 42 is warning that the Winter Olympics will face elevated risks. Is there anything here other than duh?
I was going to say, and in other news, the sky is blue.
Yeah, that's it. That's as much as you need to pay attention to that particular fluff piece. Cybersecurity consequences of the last government shutdown. So this one actually speaks about, has the latest government shutdown disrupted cybersecurity operations in any way? Is this another aha moment? Is there something really here? Or is this yes, obviously when you stop working, things stop working? Okay, great. Well, that's all you needed to know about that one. Hackers recruit unhappy insiders to bypass data security. So talking about layoffs, flat wages, increasing discontent within organizations, maybe make people more susceptible to providing access or giving access away, right? Zach, your take?
Yeah, this was actually a flag that we often looked for in my insider threat days back in the day. We're like, you lay somebody off, did you make sure that you cut off all their access? Did they take any docs with them? Because somebody may have a unplanned departure from the company, and that's problematic, right? Because if they know your floor plan, they know your weaknesses. If there was your physical security person, they know your weaknesses on your data center. They know where your cameras are pointed. And if somebody comes along with the right amount of money, what do they care? They don't work there anymore.
I would point out as well, just as a side note, it's getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper on the dark web to hire somebody to do a thing. So
Yeah.
with all deference, $50 is $50. What are you going to do here? So insider threat is the thing. Yes, you should be using insider threat programs like Zach mentioned. Go do your job.
So maybe another way to kind of think about it is as much as people are thinking about software supply chain, there's a certain amount of human supply chain or employee supply chain, because if you look back, and this makes me think of the Coinbase, incident.
That's exactly what I was thinking about.
Right. And also people think about like, oh, TJ Maxx, like you go really far back to that TJ Maxx. It was that HVAC vendor that had the access initially, that sort of vendor supply chain, third party risk concept. And more, a 0 day may cost tens of thousands, 100,000 if you really want something that'll work against the system, but it may only cost 1,000 or two, maybe less, to pay somebody who is working in third party offshore, where that's actually a way easier, way less expensive approach to gaining initial access. And once you've got initial access, then you're in. So yeah, I mean, this is an interesting one, right? But just rethinking about like human supply chain, software supply chain, vendor supply chain, thinking about that a little bit more. But I am hearing from customers. So this one is one that I'll talk about for just a second more here. Is that I am hearing from our clients more concerns about how do you vet and how do you validate, and this idea of know your employee, being able to check in, especially with larger workforce. Being able to check in and saying, hey, I've got a very large, support center or call center, and some of it may be remote. And how do I verify they are who they are and they're actually the people that, I hired in the first place? So having this ability to verify. So we are seeing a lot of, biometric identity verification technologies that employers are deploying or thinking about deploying. So that's kind of an interesting one. I'll be very interested to see how that develops.
And I'll second that one. So I consult with a lot of people every week, and this has come up 4 times in the last month.
I mean, they're going to steal data. They're going to steal sensitive information. Even just stealing time, stealing funds from the company in terms of that security, or not, he wasn't a security engineer, but he was working 6 jobs. They found out after like 2 months that this guy had 6 jobs, and it was only because he was consistently late, wasn't showing up on camera. Those sorts of things, right? So the insider risk covers a wide gamut, not just pure, I'm going to steal this and give this to the criminals.
I feel like I've seen this every now and then, but I swear there's a subreddit that's like dedicated to how to hold multiple jobs. It's hilarious.
It's a thing.
Not that I'm on there, Vinny.
Yeah. Zach, I hope you don't know the exact URL, but no, okay. All right, the next one is APT 28 using Microsoft Office CVE 21509 in espionage-focused malware attacks. So this is kind of interesting. Espionage. That's a little bit different out of like sort of normal corporate exploitation. What do we think here?
I think it's a really cool word that people like to throw around when they don't really understand what espionage is.
Okay.
The Chinese have been doing this for years. I mean, this is the target opportunity that they follow. They follow this concept of, I'm going to use the 0 day that I can get in with. I'm going to look at, evaluate your IP. You're never going to know I'm here.
You're right.
I'm going to, and this is one of the reasons I say that mean time to detection is one of the worst metrics you can have. You have no idea when this attacker got it. Let us not joke around. So cool. Somebody's doing espionage. Did you think they weren't last week?
Yeah. Okay, so this one maybe just a little bit more about detailing, hey, it's happening, here's the exploit. Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just they're changing slightly what they did previously. So kind of looking into the actual path. It's cool. I really enjoyed reading through it. Yeah.
It's cool.
The fact that they're still doing steganography in PNGs and image files, and that's their payload, like that's rad. I was like, oh yeah. I'm glad to see that's still being leveraged.
So,
dude, yes, this is awesome. But like,
professional nod to that was clever, well done. Okay, I mean, I can respect that. The shit's hard. I mean, I've been
Amazing.
trying to keep up with the headlines around this one and try to figure out. I haven't had my chance to put my hands on it yet, but quick takes on OpenClaw, the Molt bot, thoughts on that.
I mean, like, it's a cool thing, right? But, like, you understood you were playing with vaporware to begin with, right? So why is it a huge surprise that it has a vulnerability this huge in it? I guess, to me, I'm looking at this going, when you installed this on your PC and it said, hey, I'm going to give Claude the ability to control your entire infrastructure, and you said yes, there wasn't a hint that this might happen. It's an amazing tool. It's wonderful. I have every expectation in the next year that this becomes the normative. But at the same time, this is the first time we've done it. This is going to be rough, and there's going to be a lot of these. So yeah, you probably shouldn't put it on your Mac Mini that you have plugged into the same server that your kids are playing Roblox on. But at the same time, I've seen it in, like, literally on some guy's desk in an enterprise. Why? Because he brought it in, he plugged it in, and no big deal. So it goes back to the normal things. Are you doing the hygiene that you said you were going to do? Are you doing the things that you need to do as a security and as an infrastructure program? And are you doing the right things?
Yeah.
I think it's it's a very powerful tool, and if you know what you're doing and you can use it well, great, man. Unleash it, use it, and make it work for you. But it's kind of like when Dodge first came out with the Hellcats and people were wrecking them as soon as they left the dealership, right? Like they were wrapping it around a pole. Not that it's funny, but it's like you're giving somebody who's never driven 800 horsepower and God knows how much torque, and they're taking it out. So they had to start giving high performance driving classes, right? It's like that. Like, this is a Hellcat that nobody's ever used before. I'm more surprised that cloud providers are like, yeah, let's roll it out. You can throw it into your infrastructure because our users always set up their cloud infrastructure securely. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's just asking for trouble. I'm not saying don't use it. Just make sure you kind of understand what's actually happening under the hood before you just start giving it all your API keys and letting it loose.
Well, I would just say there's a couple of things in the other headlines that I've seen. Right, there's another one in here about Coinbase, having another incident that occurred in December, which again was a contractor, with improper access, and yet again an insider breach. And not to pick on them, but it follows the earlier incident and highlights this concern around know your employee or know your contractor and human supply chain. And
pay them well.
Interesting.
Pay them well, like legit. If you're offshoring so that you as an enterprise can save enough money that you're making some other country live in poverty, this is probably not the ideal response for you. This is what's going to happen. You've asked for this almost.
I think the other one that pops up for me here is just that there was a Chinese hacking group that compromised things, which I'm just like, wow, that's another example of I'm going to go after something that really not a lot of people are going to look at and use it to go after a very targeted set of people. And it reminds me, I'm going to forget the exact... Remember that package that had been compromised, that they felt like it had been compromised for like 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to remember the name of the exact package, but it was sort of underlying so many different...
I was going to say, wasn't it Datadog that found that one?
Yeah, I forget, but yeah, that's what it reminds me of. Gosh, that's wild.
I mean, there's that XKCD comic about the internet, and it's like all being maintained by this one little tiny package that hasn't been touched in 10 years.
Exactly. So, but yeah, long-term persistent access, it's like now really a thing. Again, it's a lot easier to go against Notepad++ than it would be to go against iOS or Chrome. Yeah. So
I will cap that off with a wonderful comment that I've given to a number of people before this. It is really easy to compromise any company in the world. You know why? Because it's made up of humans. And humans suck. And the reality is we're all going to do something stupid at some point. And you just have to figure out which one of us is going to do the next stupid thing. Yeah. If it's barring a door open so you can go take a smoke in a high-end security data center, that obviously never happened, cough cough, all the way out to legitimately taking a bright red network cable and running it into the air-gapped portions of a facility so you can watch soccer. People suck. And I mean, like, these are two of the instances of some stuff that we've done in the past, and I'm sorry, but these things happen, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
That was a fast one. Nathan, hope you get some rest over there.
Hey, man, I'd love to do this again. If you want to pull this up, happy to do this on the weekly if you'd like, even. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah. We're just getting started, so we're trying to figure out our cadence and everything. But yeah, super fast,
Cool.
quick opinions, and